Old Man Winter may be winding down, but what will he leave behind? Lots of potholes and roads riddled with frost heaves. If you think the roads are bad, you're not alone. Just ahead, we talk to the head of the DPW to see what can be done. This winter has also done a number on the town's budget for snow removal. We look at where we stand and how much of a shortfall it looks like we're in for. And the Board of Selectmen take on the issue of whether or not to continue to pay for health insurance for elected town officials. Those stories and more just ahead on ELCAT News Update. Good evening, I'm Rebecca Green. We begin tonight with the state of roads in East Longmeadow. This harsh winter has created a nightmare for drivers and for the DPW. Now that spring is hopefully not far away, the question is how to repair the roads and is there a budget to do so? ELCAT talked to Department of Public Works Superintendent Robert Parent about the roads and other winter-related issues, such as water main breaks and how the DPW is doing so far with their snow removal budget.
We are in a similar position as we were last year in that we are significantly over the budget that the town has appropriated. However, that has been past practice for the town for many years. For the past dozen plus years is to budget fairly low and hope that if we have a good winter that we'll stay below budget. But in many of the last years we've been significantly over what has been budgeted. So we are today probably in the range of about $375,000 that have been spent to date on snow removal. That's just about where we were this time of year last year.
The rising price of salt, he says, is a main factor for the DPW going over budget.
Salt accounts for about 75% of our budget, and salt has gone up 40%. So that actually is a significant impact on the budget.
The freezing temperatures have caused several water main breaks in town. Parent brings us up to speed on how East Longmeadow is doing compared to other towns.
We have had a couple of breaks over the past couple of weeks, and they've been very difficult to fix given that we have over 3 feet of frost in the ground, and it makes it very, very difficult to find the leaks first and then very difficult to repair the leaks. Fortunately, none of the breaks have been major breaks. They have been all on connection points to our water mains. They haven't been a catastrophic failure of the water main, but they've been where services and other pipes happen to connect to the water mains. And we've spent a fair amount of time repairing those, but they've all been repaired. I think we are fortunate compared to many communities. We have had no water services, that's services serving individual homes, freeze to date. And given that it looks like the weather is finally maybe starting to take a little bit of a turn for the better, we're optimistic we won't have any this year.
As spring approaches, the DPW suggests any residents who spot particularly bad potholes to give them a call.
The potholes were not in bad shape. We certainly took care of our worst road last year when we repaved Elm Street. We do have potholes in a number of our streets, and we do repair them as they come up. We can't do permanent repairs until springtime, until the asphalt plants open or reopen, and we can make the long-term repairs. We are looking right now at a road improvement program for 2015, and the road improvement program will primarily focus on our main roads, where we have the greatest number of residents that travel the roads, and the impact of poor quality roads has the greatest impact on our residents. So that's primarily where the focus of our road improvement plan is going to be for this upcoming year.
Now on to the latest from the Board of Selectmen. On Tuesday night, the board discussed a number of proposed increases in its FY16 budget, including the addition of a town human resources department, a 2% increase in the town's legal services budget, and the creation of a full-time health agent position. The board is scheduled to review its budget proposals on March 10th with the Appropriations Committee. In an earlier joint meeting held on February 17th, Appropriations Chairman Eric Madison had expressed concerns to the board about the coming year's budgets and had asked the selectmen to consider the impact on future tax rates of any additional spending. Fast forward to last night's select board meeting, members considered whether to forward its supplemental budget request to the Appropriations Committee for discussion. Chairman Paul Federici said the items represented needed services to the town.
I mean, it's wonderful, obviously we're trying to keep in a budget and trying to keep the tax dollars down, but if you're not serving the community as you're supposed to, then, it's that fine line we have to walk, so. And all these things, we're bringing it to them for their comments, it's not like it's anything set in stone, so.
Town Administrator Nick Bro noted that the board had received 2 petition articles that would be forwarded to the clerk's office for certification. Both are sponsored by the board member, Billy Gorman, acting as a private citizen. The first would exempt residents 70 and over from increases in the town's tax rate. The second would seek an exemption for the town of East Longmeadow from a state statute that allows elected officials to enroll in municipal health insurance plans.
I report to the board that I've received 2 petition warrant articles relative to the freezing of taxes for persons 70 years and older, and then also with respect to health care coverage for elected officials. And those are going over to the clerk for verification.
Bro said both articles are likely to appear on the warrant. Later in the meeting, the issue of health coverage for elected officials came up again, this time as an issue that the board itself has been considering for several weeks. Board Chair Paul Federici currently takes advantage of town-offered health insurance, so he recused himself from the vote. As it stands, 8 elected officials are enrolled in the town's health insurance plan. The benefit was established back in 1959 by state law. The Appropriations Committee, however, has expressed concern about the impact of the benefit on the town budget. Tuesday night's discussion and vote, however, was not about Gorman's article as a private citizen. It was to determine whether the selectmen as a board would put the same question before voters at the town meeting in May.
I will make a motion that we increase the premiums for elected officials to 100%. Effective date?
I think the motion would be to put a warrant article, to request that a warrant article go into the May town meeting, requesting legislation authorizing the town to charge elected officials 100% of the premium cost for coverage if they choose to be under the town's plan, and to take effect upon passage, but there's just to take effect. When it's passed, you can then implement it once it's available to be done.
Second.
Is there a second? Is there any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, so that ends that.
One final note, after the vote, former town selectman Larry Levine suggested that the board consider revising its motion at town meeting to grandfather the 8 elected officials currently enrolled in the town health plan.
I would suggest you think about whether you want to grandfather existing elected officials. So someone who's newly elected to office comes into office knowing that's a consequence. I think for fairness, to take away a benefit, regardless of your view of whether you think it's proper, if someone can get health insurance somewhere else, person came into the office knowing they could get it, and took advantage of it. Those are my thoughts.
The town cannot afford it no more. They cannot afford it. That's $72,000 that we could be using for a human resource, for a health agent, for somebody else that's working 37.5 hours a week.
Good news for East Longmeadow School District. 4 teachers have received the 2015 Excellent in Teaching Award. The Harold Grinspoon Foundation rewards exceptional teachers as a part of the Pioneer Valley Awards for Excellent in Education. Superintendent Gordon Smith has the honor of congratulating East Longmeadow winners, Mary Jo Vernier, William Phelan, Stacy Humphreys, and Mary Jane McMahon. We caught up with Mrs. McMahon at the high school after her family and consumer science class.
Actually, I was really surprised and very honored. It's a great thing for teachers to be recognized, and I was surprised that I'd be one of them.
Superintendent Smith says there is a strict step-by-step process on how the nominees are set into place.
Based on enrollment, so a district our size gets 4 awards per year, 3 of which go to veteran teachers who meet the criteria that they establish, and 1 of the awards goes to a teacher who is within his or her first 3 years of teaching. The process begins where the teachers across the district and our educators across the district in our building staff and our buildings get a chance to nominate, in accordance with the criteria outlined, colleagues of theirs. And then those nominations go to a screening committee, and the screening committee takes a look again at the criteria, how the nomination is written, how the person who's being nominated meets the criteria, and really, bottom line is, are they going above and beyond and sort of excelling at what they do every day?
Colleagues submit the nominations, which Smith says is the best part of the process.
I think the best part of the process is reading those nominations, when the committee sits to read those nomination papers, because here are colleagues who are recognizing other colleagues and really showing what an impact not only that teacher has on the building and on the students, but since it's coming from one of their colleagues, on them. To see these nominations, you realize, wow, you know, we have some not only exceptional teachers who impact students' lives every day, they impact staff members' lives every day. And so that's pretty exciting.
The 2015 Excellent in Teaching Award winners will be honored at the Log Cabin in Holyoke for the Hampton County Excellent in Teaching Award ceremony on May 14th. In sports, we have breaking news covering the winner of Mass Live Athletes of the Week. We have our very own All-State Wrestling champion, Connor Humphreys, who will take home the honor. Humphreys, who you're watching from a match earlier this year, became the program's first ever All-State champion with a victory over Ian Steckel of Malden Catholic in the 182-pound final. Winning the reader vote on Mass Live, Humphreys will now be able to attend a postseason party at Mass Live to receive his plaque for the outstanding achievement. Congratulations to Connor. Well, that will do it for us tonight. Thanks for watching ELCAT News Update. I'm Rebecca Green. Until next time, good night.